is the most stupid. So like they're like they just arrived.
Yeah.
These guys are like on the ground,
covered in blood
and stuff like that. The not Tom Sizemore character is gonna check for a pulse. He's like,
yeah.
Wait, don't bother. They're already dead.
No, don't bother. They're all dead.
It's like, you sure about that?
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back to the 189th episode. Good, Bad, or Bad. Show us terrible movies and tell you if you should too. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Chillago. Joining me once again, Mr. Kyle Hinton.
I'm in the year 2024. Oh my God, I'm in the future.
It's true. You are in the future as we're recording this, we're in the present. But as you're watching this, you're in our future. Time travel, time's blind. Shut up.
We'll have to go back and save Sarah Connor.
There you go.
I'll be back.
For the year of Steven Seagal. Nothing but Steven Seagal.
He's got the catalog board.
It's true. No, we are not doing that. But we are starting the year off strong with a Steven Seagal film from 2006 that I am so excited to talk about because it is fascinating.
It's everything happens and nothing happens.
The film is 2006's
Attack Force.
Steven Seagal in Attack Force.
So, Kyle, I went on a journey with this movie, and I'm interested to see. Maybe you know the thing that I found out at the end.
Oh no!
About the plot of this movie. Do you know anything about the?
No, I don't know anything because this film looks like they gave up on it halfway through.
Okay, you're not. Well, it wasn't halfway through, but it was. Anyways, we'll get to it. I had a journey that I went on watching this film, and then had it all confirmed, and I felt like a fucking genius.
Nice. Well, watching later on as we were going through and we were getting near the end, and I saw the editing job. I could only see the editors sitting in their editing suite, losing their goddamn mind, trying to figure out how to save this film.
Yes, kind of. We'll get to it. Let's get right into it. Steven Seagal is credited as a co-writer on this script.
Yeah, right.
Well, and especially not with the final product, which we'll get to. I have to find the note for it, but we'll get to it. But we open up the opening credits. It was like I swear it's motion blurred footage of women dancing. I think it's the strippers / prostitutes from later, but it's like so out of focus and blurry that it kind of is like turns into this like surrealist like ink blot thing. And then I was like, was that a boob? What just happened? It's so weird. It's so strange. Because it was like every now and then I'd be like, I think that's a human body. But yeah, that is what it is.
Yeah, it's the greatest kind of Steven Seagal opening that is, because it happens with so many of these. Like Out for a Kill was like at a strip club.
Yes,
the opening for it.
Well, yes, it's that classic B movie thing of like, we know what you're here for. Well, let's get the boobs in early. In this instance, though, you can't even tell. It took me like literally the entire credits to even realize I was looking at women. At first, I literally thought I was having a stroke. Like I was just like, this is the lights, the fairies dancing in my brain as it slowly blinks out of existence. Like I don't know what is happening here.
It's that event horizon where you're too far gone. And
yeah. That's the end of 2001 when he's going through the wormhole. Like I don't know what's going on here. But we get into the actual, so after the credits, we get into the actual story, and it is the opening, the cold open, which is Seagal driving a car somewhere. Meanwhile, a business deal is transpiring, right? Somebody's buying a little briefcase from somebody. And by somebody, I mean Baraka from Mortal Kombat is buying a briefcase because this guy has wrist blades.
Yes.
He has wrist blades.
Like
it's fine. He'll stop eventually.
Everybody has like little blades that look like this. Like they're at the end of their wrists and they crescent out like that.
Yes, they're little short wrist blades. And well, not everybody. Some of the other people
have like
crystal
discs or whatever.
Like and the woman who's like the killer for the first part has like a crystal dagger thing that looks like something from World of Warcraft. It's crazy. But those were all hints for what this story secretly was, Kyle. And we'll get to it. Those are breadcrumbs that my brain put together and I figured it out, and then I was confirmed.
Is this like some Highlander shit?
Nah, no, we'll get there. It's crazy. Because I was like, yeah, I have a note here pretty early. We'll get into my theory.
This is either supernatural type shit with like channeling crystals or the future.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
But my favorite thing is that, so we're seeing this business deal and we're seeing Steven Seagal drive there and he's talking to somebody on the radio. But this is the first moment where we get the dubbing of Steven Seagal.
You hear somebody speak and we see Steven Seagal drive, but
you don't see him talk. And I was like, and then you hear a voice, you hear who he's talking to him, but then you hear a voice responding, and I was like,
is that
supposed to
sound
be
like Steven Seagal?
That doesn't sound anything like Steven Seagal. Spoilers, it's supposed to be Steven Seagal.
Roger that, Dwayne. What's your position?
They got a guy who sounds
nothing like Steven Seagal to dub him.
It's incredible. It's one of my favorite things.
They come from a really good SF team, and Morgan recommended them.
It's like, you do a better Steven Seagal than the guy in this movie.
All you gotta do is sound really constipated and it'd be like you're on like opium and stuff.
Yeah, and like the person they got to do it in this movie is atrocious at it. It's incredible.
A training mission.
Oh, well, let's go pack our gear.
You gotta really put on that Cajun accent. Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
You love to prey on the weak and innocent, but I like to prey on sick people like you.
He doesn't do the Cajun accent in this one, thank God. But he does. So he arrives at this deal that's going down. And my favorite thing is, like, most of the people are dead. Like, there was a shootout or whatever, or fight before he got there. And, like, it's just, like, the one guy that has the little briefcase or whatever. The little plastic pelican case, and he it's what it is. It's like a
photography case.
Oh yeah, or like the lav mics were in it or something like that's what it looks like exactly. Like they just went to G&E and they were like, we'll just take one of those and use it as the prop in our movie. He gets there, and my favorite thing is there's a guy there with the wrist blades, and Seagal gets out of the car with the gun,
pointed at it,
and doesn't do anything. No. It doesn't even say like stop or put your hand. It just points the gun at him and then waits. And then
what is the gun there for?
He tries to shoot it eventually, but by that time the guy like knocks it out of
his hand. And I do like how Steven Seagal like does his arm twist thing. Then it doesn't make any sense.
And the way he kills this guy physically makes no sense because it's filmed so poorly you can't tell what happened. You just see the aftermath. He's fighting this guy doing classic terrible Steven Seagal flailing, and then all you see is like a quick moment where he bends the guy's arm. And then it cuts, and the guy's on the ground with the blade
sticking out of his head. Like his arm got twisted 180 degrees.
How does he twisted his arm so far? Because again, the blades are attached to the guy's wrist.
Part of his like bullshit Aikido technique.
He flipped it so far around he was able to stab.
I say that, and Steven Seagal's going to track us down and be like, I heard you said my technique was bullshit.
I've already killed you, but I have this now. From here, I have this.
Steven Seagal's not going to track anything down except maybe a fucking his next never mind. Just gonna let that one sit.
I'm a big action movie star and people are pretty stoked on me.
So he stabs the guy in the forehead with his forearm blade somehow magically. It's incredible. And again, every time he talks, not every time, sorry, it's like 50-50.
Yeah.
2 days field training before our next assignment.
We're all active military. These are my guys.
Half the time it is Steven Seagal, and half the time it isn't. We will get into why that is the case at some point.
Okay.
I so love that you didn't know this. I thought you would have.
I'm assuming he had an argument with the production or something. He did something where somebody was like, "You do not bring that guy back."
Yeah, well, it was too expensive to get him back, is what it was. But the reason they had to redo all the dialogue is fascinating. Because the movie they shot is not the movie we watched.
Nice.
At all, Kyle.
Nice.
At all. Although it is, because I called it. I pegged what the original movie was supposed to be. So then we cut from that to some dude is making out with a chick in a car. And it's very awkward because we hear, like, they're making out and then we hear a zipper sound. and then she gets like offended. I think he like unzipped. The idea is supposed to be like unzipped his pants.
He whipped it out.
I guess.
Seinfeld.
He took it out.
Oh,
Of course, Brian would never have seen it.
I've seen Seinfeld. This has been a long time.
And to be fair, it's one of the later seasons.
It's just been a long time. But anyways, there's a zipper sound, and she looks at him really weird, and it's just the whole interaction is very awkward. But then this is where we're introduced to Raina is her name. She is like a bladed assassin lady.
Yes.
She shows up and just murders these two for seemingly no reason.
This is what I was like, oh, she's like from an ancient line of warriors or some shit, or like she's like the Highlander or whatever.
Yeah. Not quite. Not super far off, but not quite from my understanding. But we'll get to it. Then we cut back. So that's like setting up this mystery of like, who is this lady? Why is she killing people? Then we cut back and we're introduced to Steven Seagal and his partner, not Tom Sizemore.
Yeah. That's exactly what I thought the entire time. I was like, okay.
It's totally Tom Sizemore, but it's not Tom Sizemore. They're sitting in like some like bar or whatever, and the young guns roll up. It's these 3 young guys who are like part of his team. And they want to go get some tail, so they're like, "We're going to the strip club."
They're in like Paris, right? Like I think
France
they're
somewhere.
in France.
Yeah, I don't know where.
So of course it's France. There's gonna be. It had to have been up near the Netherlands, right? Or isn't that where all the nudie?
I don't know, Kyle. Do you? I've been to France, but I don't know where the strip clubs are in France.
They go to I guess what would be called the red light district or whatever.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, they go to some club that is like a strip club kind of brothel type place. But they get there, and the lady who we just watched murder everybody, or those 2 young, people in the car, is there, and she is like a prostitute or stripper or whatever, and they're immediately transfixed with her, and they're like, we want her, and so they go talk to the club owner, who is introduced, and his name, which is incredible, and I think is also a remnant of the fact of what this movie used to be. Maybe his name is Arun.
Didn't I tell you to stay out of sight, Arun?
Yes.
Aroon. Now, maybe that's just a normal name, but he's British, I think, though, right?
Yes.
He's not French. I don't know. I was like, maybe that's a French name I'm unaware of, but it's Arun. But again, he's not French. He's British, so whatever. Who knows?
How was I supposed to know that Uncle Sam would send in some of his finest?
British people, is Arun a name that people have? Maybe he's like a Welsh thing or something. I don't know. I have no idea.
Yeah, it's probably Gaelic or something like that.
It could be. I don't know. But anyways, I was like, and I was thinking it's maybe related to something else, but. You hear that? That like ticking?
So like a cat in the wall or something?
And to bring her back to our hotel or whatever, and he's like, sweet, here you go. And they take her home, and then they get her back. And I also didn't realize their plan was like, all 3 of them are just going to have sex with her. Sorry, 2 of them. The third guy is drunk, and they lock him in the bathroom because he's throwing up or whatever. And so the first guy starts like making out with her, and the other guy's just like, yeah. He's just in the corner watching.
It's literally, let me see if I can line with camera. He's like,
yeah. You're not wrong. He's holding a beer, and he's like, yeah. He's watching, and then surprise, she pulls out a knife and just starts murdering them all. And there's a really funny moment where after she kills the first guy, or the first 2 guys, I guess, the guy that's in the bathroom, like his bathroom door is glass, and it gets like covered in blood, and he's looking, and she like comes up against the glass, and it's like
starting to lick it off.
And she looks like a velociraptor in T-Rex or in Jurassic Park, like
clever girl.
Yeah, exactly.
Clever girl.
And then he hides against the wall
and just gets like grabbed through it.
She punches through the wall and rips him through the drywall and just murders him. And I was like, wait, is she a superhuman? Yeah. I was like, what is happening?
This was like in this weird like supernatural aspect of it. Yeah.
We'll get there. I thought my note was, is she a Terminator? Like maybe she's like a cyborg, or you know what I mean? Like maybe she was like some sort of whatever. Nope, but we'll get there.
I like how you keep building this.
It's so. I just was amazed that I called it. That I was like, that's what this is. Well, because
that's what the end result of this is going to be. Brian's sense of satisfaction is going to be great.
It's so good. I'm interested to see, and I don't want to spoil it because I want to see as we're showing clips and people are watching if the viewers, because I don't go watch this movie, it is not worth your time. But if the viewers will also figure out what the like weird
way to just spoil
backstory.
bad Brian.
I mean, it's mixed. I don't know. I could go either way. But
what do you guys know about him? I mean, the man walks with an air of confidence. It's rarely seen in this day and age.
Seagal and his partner Tom Sizemore get back, and they find the dead bodies. And it's Seagal. He's guilty of this in every movie.
This is the most stupid. So like they're like they just arrived.
Yeah,
these guys are like on the ground,
covered in blood
and stuff like that. The not Tom Sizemore character is going to check for a pulse. He's like, wait, don't bother. They're already dead.
No, don't bother. They're all dead.
It's like, you
how,
sure about that?
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Well, and also he has no. This is him at his worst at this in this movie. He has no reaction to anything ever.
Yeah.
Because I think he thinks it makes him look cool to be like so remote. But it just you look like somebody going.
Well,
through the motions.
It's just like in Kill Switch when they killed his wife or girlfriend.
Exactly.
Or whatever. He's like, oh,
all right. Yeah. But then later he's like, oh, I gotta get revenge. Like when he's talking to the girl later, he's like, they took out my team. And it's like, did you care? You don't seem to care about them. Why do you need like revenge or whatever? Yeah. Whatever. So anyways, these three guys get murdered. He's like mildly annoyed about it.
No, don't bother. They're all dead.
Meanwhile, Seagal is going to the Majestic headquarters, which is a whole organization that is not really explained at all.
Every time I kept hearing Majestic, I was thinking the Majestic 12.
What's that?
I was going to do like an X-Files theme.
Oh.
Majestic 12 is like right up there with the Illuminati.
Oh, is it? Okay. Because I was thinking, isn't the Majestic the hotel in John Wick? Isn't that the Majestic?
Yeah, I think
Anyway,
that's.
yeah.
For the record, all my conspiracy theory stuff comes from the Deus Ex video game.
Oh my God, JC, a bomb. A bomb.
And your second YouTube channel that you run.
It's got the eye on the top of the pyramid.
Yep.
That's its icon.
Yep. But anyway, so we find out that Seagal has had his security clearance revoked at this place for some reason. He can't get in. He ends up
has somebody on the inside.
Yeah, this girl that's there, her name is Tia, we will find out, calls him and is like, hey, let's meet up at a restaurant. I'll talk to you about why your security clearance got revoked or whatever. Then while he's talking to this lady, I don't even know it doesn't matter what they talk about. Again, I will stress, this movie doesn't make any sense because this was a whole different movie that got turned into an entirely different movie in the edit afterwards, so none of the plot coheres in any way that makes any sense.
Two films Frankenstein together.
It's one film, well, kind of two.
1.5 films Frankenstein together.
Yes. And again, he's just like straight up refusing to act in this movie. They're meeting in this cafe, and he's like, "I need an armory.
I need access to an armory.
I'll see what I can do.
You know the weapons I like."
You know the weapons I like. And she's like, okay.
Tank, we need guns.
Yes,
lots of
literally.
them.
But we never even see that. Well, I guess we do see that moment later, kind of. But anyways, because she gives him the sweet blades. But which is a hint at what this movie was. But anyway, so she...
Oh, it's a vampire.
And we're back. You don't get to hear that yet. So he's gonna get revenge for them killing his guy or whatever. He's got to go figure out who killed his men. Meanwhile, Tom Sizemore is interrogating Arun in like the police station. They're like sitting in the interrogation room, and Arun explains that because they found out that all the guys had this drug in them.
Yes,
they all had this new drug that they've never heard of before called CTX.
CTX.
Yes.
I decided to introduce CTX to the club scene. New party drug.
And Arun explains what CTX is in this scene.
And Arun's like, in addition to being a pimp, he's also a biochemist.
Yes. Him, and we will find out later, him and Tia, or at some point, him and Tia like worked together on this drug. Yeah. And Tia is the blonde girl who was talking to Seagal in the last scene, who was maybe they're together, maybe his daughter. I'm not. It's one of the two. One of the two.
She's
Kyle.
young enough to be his daughter.
Yes, that's what I mean.
Steven Seagal is like perpetually like 55.
Yes. Yes.
Even back in the
even when he was he's like Patrick Stewart in that regard. Like he hit 55 and then he stayed there.
Like even back in like Above the Law, like one of his earliest films when he's like 37 or something like that, he was still 55.
Yes, absolutely. But he explains that CTX is this new party drug that like releases all your inhibitions, but also it makes you like a mindless killer and elevates your like strength and reflexes and everything.
Yeah, it's literally the Neuralator from the Total Force. You know, the space laser thing.
Yes.
It's
and
literally
like, turns
that
them into. Yes, they take this drug and it turns them into like super mindless killers or whatever. And the government is interested in it to use it as like a weapon, basically for soldiers.
A drug that makes soldiers mindless killers right up until the point that they die.
But they're also selling it as just like a street drug for fun or whatever, like Arun is, I guess.
That makes sense.
Yes. And then we find out that... Go ahead.
Then it goes into pure... I have no... Okay, so he just spills the beans to not Tom Sizemore and says, at this time, it's going to release to the entire water supply.
A large quantity of CTX is going to be released into the city's water supply.
Yes. Why would you tell him that?
Why? What purpose does that have?
Well, they say so that everybody gets addicted. And then when everybody's addicted, I guess they sell it to it. Like, I guess the idea is to get everybody, because he says everybody will get addicted to it. And then once you're addicted to it, you have to have it. And so I guess the idea is he's trying to get everybody addicted. Again, none of this makes sense because this is not the plot of the movie. This is the plot they made up after the fact before the movie. But also then Seagal, not Tom Sizemore, just injects Arun with a bunch of it for no reason.
What the hell?
To like, because he's like, I'm gonna pump you full of this stuff. What he just told you it turns you into like a superhero or super soldier serum. And why are you giving it a bunch to a guy you have in handcuffs? Guess how that ends? He fucking breaks out of the handcuffs and gets away. It's so stupid. He's an idiot. And then we cut and this is where we get another scene where we watch Raina kill some more people. There's like some couple making out in a church yard or whatever, and there's a guy watching them or something. I don't know who the third guy is, but she
just goes and slices them up again.
Yes, and then she corners the third guy who's running away, and she looks at him, and when she looks at him, she blinks
sideways.
And this was where I was
like, Men in Black?
Your world's gonna end.
I thought I was saying it facetiously, jokingly. I said, is she a fucking vampire? Spoilers! Kyle, I looked it up. This movie about this CTX drug that they're releasing, and that's all bullshit, Kyle. This movie was a vampire movie.
Yeah.
This whole movie was a fucking vampire movie.
I got that at the end with the lead vampire chick. I was like, oh, cool. With the setting, like the set design and everything, I was like, this just seems like fucking Queen of the Damned.
Well, and Arun is wearing like the fur coat. He looks like the bad guy from, is it Blade 1 or maybe it's Underworld? In one of the movies, there's a guy, there's an evil vampire who wears like a fur coat, and it's like the exact same fucking fur
like
coat
Blade, the evil bad guy in the original Blade was Stephen Dorff.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, not Blade. Yeah. So they say in this, screenwriter Joe Halpin is quoted in the book Seagology, the ass-kicking films of Steven Seagal, as saying that Attack Force had originally been written and filmed as Harvester, a sci-fi horror movie with Steven Seagal and his men battling an invading force of vampire space aliens. After Seagal, Halpin, and director Michael Kusch had delivered the finished sci-fi film, the production and distribution company decided to get rid of the sci-fi space alien elements and replace them with another plot about a super addictive drug that turns its users into superhuman killers. They called back a few of the lower paid actors for reshoots, redubbed the majority of Seagal's dialogue, and then totally re-edited the film and changed the title to Attack Force. Seagal and Halpin, the original screenwriter, were not involved. So that's
That's hilarious.
That's insane. And the whole time I was like, this is, and I read that after I finished the movie. The whole time I was like, this is a vampire movie, Kyle. This is 100% a fucking vampire movie. Why are they trying to pretend this isn't a vampire movie? Found out, spoilers, it is a fucking vampire movie.
It's very obvious
exactly
that
what it is. Yes. And that's like the crystal weapons. It has like complete rip-off Underworld vibes. Like the whole thing is very clearly just like a shitty knockoff of Underworld. It's amazing, which is already kind of a mediocre knockoff of something. I don't know. That might not be true. Anyway, point being, it's just that. And I was like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
Brian felt so proud about himself.
So smart when I got to the end, because I had vampire in my notes like a dozen times watching this movie. I get to the end, I go to the trivia section on IMDb, and the very first thing is like, this was a vampire movie, and I was like, I fucking knew it. Fucking knew
that
it.
Level of satisfaction.
Yes, I felt like a genius.
Yeah, this is big brain time.
Anyways, then we're introduced to Werner and the government people that are somehow upset. They're mad at Seagal. There's like also Seagal works for the government, but is also being hunted by the government. There's like this weird convoluted plot where.
Well, there's a Robinson guy who's like was leading the development of CTX.
Yeah.
And he's who the Arun and Tia chick were under.
Yes.
Like, and I think they're like their own, like, we need to protect the drug.
Yes, because we need it and we're going to use it or whatever. And they don't want Seagal and his team to like expose it. And
stupidly convoluted.
And they don't, again, because it's all cobbled together after the fact, it doesn't really make any sense.
It's held together with duct tape.
I don't even have a clue what's going on.
But that's what, like you said, we find out that Tia knows Arun, the club owner guy, and they used to work together and they made the drug or whatever, or were involved in creating this CTX drug. I will say, to give this movie its credit, it does kind of look like an actual movie for most of it.
Yeah.
It's shot like, a lot of it's kind of clumsily handheld, like in a way that is very dated, but it looked like the lighting and stuff looks pretty good.
The stuff that really, like, I hate to say it, the stuff that clearly looked like a designed set was probably some of the best stuff. Like some of the inside the facility type stuff was probably some of the best stuff. But that's clearly because it was some of the areas were clearly just sets built for it.
Yes, yeah, or stolen from something else. It wouldn't surprise me if we looked back and somebody's like, yeah, that ending set where they do the big fight in the catacombs is like literally just from Underworld or something. Like they just reused like an Underworld set. Or
some of the ones where they're like, oh yeah, these French people are letting us use their apartment to shoot for like 2 days.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's the garbage looking stuff.
Yes, well, yeah. But again, I was kind of pleasantly surprised that a lot of it actually looked like they had like, you know, an actual crew, cinematographer who kind of knew what they were doing and stuff, which is not always the case in the movie, especially not in the Seagal movies that we watch. But it wasn't the worst.
Robert.
But this is another note where I'm only like a third into the movie where I wrote, so this was definitely a vampire movie that they reworked. I had the same note here because in this scene, that's right. These three random undercover cops leave Arun's club and he sicks his gang of vampire prostitutes on him. And I was like, this is a vampire movie. Yes. That's what this is. And they murder all these French cops or whatever. So again, their whole plan, I think, is to get the whole city addicted to CTX and to make money on it by having to sell them. I guess it doesn't make sense because that's not the actual plot. So they're just piecing this together.
To predict 15,000 people will be fully addicted to CTX within the next 12 hours.
And then I realized at this point, I had not realized at this point, did you notice that, because they call him his name all the time, which is Marshall, that
Marshall
Steven Seagal's name is Marshall Lawson?
Yes.
They might as well have named him just as good guy. Like, what the fuck are Marshall Lawson?
Okay, laws.
2 things you need to know about Marshall Lawson. One is he's a bad motherfucker.
It's so stupid. Marshall Lawson. Incredible. Then they're at where are they at where this happened? Oh, they're at some apartment and Raina falls through the ceiling and impales a guy in the head with a piece of a table.
And I love Steven Seagal's reaction to everything is just like, oh, things okay, let me get up.
I'll get up now. I don't want to, but I guess I will. And then they start fighting her. She throws this was a cool shot. She throws Tia through like 2 walls.
Yes.
And she just like, it was pretty incredible. I don't know how that didn't fuck her up more because she's not a superhuman at this point. We don't think, at least. She's not on the drug or whatever. But yeah, she just throws her through a few walls. But Seagal is able to very quickly defeat her, even though we will be warned later that the CTX drug they're on makes them like superhuman fast and strong. And Seagal needs special attuned wrist knives to be able to compete with them, but apparently not because he just beats her up.
Yeah.
And then drops like a staircase on her.
Yes, that's how they trap her. They are in the part of this facility. It's the scene beforehand where not Tom Sizemore meets up with Tia.
Yeah.
And in the background, there's like
this
007 style, like, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
Yes, the table where they try to cut Bond in half with a laser from whichever one that is. Goldfinger, I think, is in the background. And it's got these giant like manacles on it and like a neck manacle.
I was like, we're going to use that later, aren't we?
Yeah, because then as soon as they capture, we cut back to that same, they call it some headquarters or something, some safe house or something. And they get there and she is locked into it. But I love they kept her in her like lacy lingerie top that she's wearing. And I was like, this is someone's fetish. Like that's what we're watching right now.
Oh, God.
Very, very clearly. Very clearly. But they have her like locked up. And this is where Seagal, as we mentioned, gets his special wrist blades that he'll kind of use a little bit, I guess, over the course of the movie. But she says when she's explaining it, Tia's like, they like attune to your body and they will be able to match the reflexes of someone on CTX.
Assimilated to your body, they should balance the reflexes of someone addicted to CTX.
It's like, what?
What?
And I also love the little details. She's like, they're made out of the strongest material in the world. We won't say what that is. We'll just say it's the strongest material.
It's adamantium.
It's just made up. Incredible.
They are the strongest substance known and will extend to fight.
And then, so they're going to go on a mission or something. They need to get some information. There's a great line where Seagal says, Tia's my girl. I trained her. She has a lot of special abilities. She has a lot of special techniques. She'll work out good for us. And it's like, this is just incredible dialogue. Fantastic.
Okay.
That's my girl. I trained her. She has a lot of special abilities.
But he goes and he interrogates Reyna. He's like holding his wrist knife up to her. And he's like, where is Arun? I don't know. He's trying to get something.
Yeah, he's just trying to get information out of her.
And he threatens to stab her if she doesn't talk. And she does talk. She gives up. She says a name or something, or a city, I think, Bastia or whatever.
Something like that. And then she's able to break out of it, kind of?
Yeah, she breaks one of the arm restraints and tries to attack Seagal, so he just stabs her in the chest and kills her.
Okay.
Like, oh, okay. Well, that
was quick.
Yeah, nice and easy. Meanwhile, again, the government people are doing something. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Only thing I'll mention about that is that the main guy, Werner, whatever his name is played by a guy from Doctor Who. I just finished an episode that he was in. He's in one episode. He's in the Impossible Planet and the Satan Pit 2-parter episode. He's one of the guys in that. So there you go for you nerds out there. Then there's this conversation. I think they're going to Bastia, which is like the city in France where he said it's outside the Bordeaux region or something like that. And he says they're going to go there and they got to figure out who's been infected by CTX. And the dialogue that he says is, I've taught my number one.
I've gone to a lot of trouble to teach my number one finest who's infected with CTX and who's not.
How to tell who's infected with CTX and who's not.
Yeah,
and I'm like, what?
Just look at their eyes anyways.
Yeah, and that seems to be the only way you can tell is to look at their eyes, and if they do the little sideways blinky thing. And not their eyes aren't always like that. It's just if they happen to do that while you're looking, because the other times they can be infected and just look normal.
Well, they missed a lot of them.
Almost everyone. Almost every single person they investigate in this scene coming up, they're like, they're good. And then they're like, oh, wait, no, they're actually a vampire.
Yeah.
Fuck. Oh, no, we messed it up.
This one's okay.
And again, the dubbing of Seagal throughout all of this is incredible. It's just such a nightmare.
I'm pretty sure I set it up.
You don't think we should call it in?
Well, we will call in when the time is right.
But he goes and he has a private conversation briefly with Tia. And again, I could not stop myself from wondering, are they lovers? Are they father and daughter? What is going on here? I don't know, and I don't want to know, honestly. Then the government people show up. They're at this safe house. The government people show up to like kill them for trying to stop the CTX, or like this is that one guy Robinson or whatever. Yeah, him and his people show up to like kill.
So now we just have military against military, and you have no clue what's going on because everything's so dark.
It's a pitch black house, and they're all just in like black clothes. And
some of them are like Steven Seagal's team is wearing like black,
camo.
like no, black.
They're wearing black, and then
the army is wearing like camo,
dark camo,
and that's the only way you can tell the difference.
Yeah. And it's so hard to tell who, especially if it's not people that we know. If it's not Tom Sizemore or Steven Seagal or Tia, you have no idea.
Literally, every single person aside from our main characters looks the same.
Yes, it's just some generic, boring guy in his 30s.
Yes.
It's like they're all the same. They just got a bunch of French because I assume they filmed this in France. I don't know. And they're all related, I think, because they're probably all the stunt actors. If you look in the credits at the end of this movie, all the stunt actors are like all have the same last name because I think they're all like I bet they're all like families of like gymnasts and you know what I mean? They're probably like circus performers or whatever who did like the stunts or something like that, if I had to guess. So they all have like the same last name. It's hilarious. Anyway, so they kill all these guys that were coming to get them or whatever. And then also Seagal just very unceremoniously shoots the one guy in the head. Like he walks around a corner and the Robinson guy is like sitting there with his silenced pistol, like da 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 da. And Seagal just walks out behind him and shoots him in the head.
Oh, okay.
And it's like
that's quick.
They're not even good at making Seagal seem impressive. And he's like so lazy. He's like, gotcha, fuck you. It's so boring.
I'm assuming the strike team's dead.
Yeah, that's a good assumption.
Then, right after this, they get on a phone call with the government people that seemingly just sent a bunch of people to kill them and are like, we should work together because we got to stop Arun. And they're like, okay.
Well, yeah, this is the stitching really.
Yes. Like the next scene, they're like, all right, we'll let's work together. We got to go stop
those
Arun.
seams are really coming undone.
Yes, it's pretty rough.
It looks like we'll be working together after all. I'll provide the intel and the training.
Like Seagal literally just murdered a whole bunch of military guys, and they're like, "Fine, that's fine. We'll put that behind us. You come. We'll work with you." Then they all meet up at some like base camp or whatever because they realized they somehow figured out that the place where the Arun and his gang of vampires is planning to release the CTX/vampire poison.
Which
or
I
whatever.
thought they already did. I thought they already released it.
They must have because some of the people are already infected.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who fucking knows?
Whatever. They go in like with teams checking people.
And they bring Warner.
Right.
That's a little thing. They bring Warner with them because he'll die later. The guy from the government. I just had to mention because there's this great line where they're like, Werner's coming with us. And he's like, I'm not dressed for it. And they cut to this dubbed line of Seagal being like, that's all right. We'll put some camis on you and give you a machine gun. And it's just so weirdly written and delivered with all of the energy and charisma of a cancer or a coma patient.
That's okay. We'll put some camis on you and give you a machine gun and let you come with us.
Also, I guess a cancer patient, depending on when.
Like if they're like pre-treat or they're like during treatment.
Then, so they get to the city, which is Bastia. And Seagal says, I'm going to the guardhouse. Whatever. He goes to some guardhouse, and there's like a couple having dinner.
Yes.
And he walks in, and there's just eating dinner, and he's like, show me. He's like looking at him. He's like, what are you guys? And they're like, what are you doing here? We're just eating dinner.
Just a few questions for you.
Leave us alone.
And he's like, they're probably fine or whatever. And they just kind of sit there and look at him for whatever. And then all of a sudden, surprise! Oh, and then meanwhile, we see like the other people going to like other parts of town. They like go into some catacombs, and there's just a bunch of people.
There's a scene in this catacombs that infuriates me to no end.
Okay,
and that is we are following all the military going down the catacombs, and because they were basically told in this scene, we need you to act like you're on edge searching for something. So in this hallway, where your only directions are this way and that way. They are like pointing their guns at the walls and the ceilings and everything.
It's incredible. Well, my favorite thing too is so they're supposed to be really on edge or whatever, but apparently not so on edge that they wander into some random catacombs in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And it's just full of people, and they're like, "This is normal." They don't like they don't like question it or like, "What are you doing here?"
I would imagine that's what happens in France all the time. The catacombs are where just people hang out. You know?
I guess, but they don't even ask them like, "What are you doing here? What's your name? Show me some ID." Nothing. They just look at them and walk past them. I'm like, "What are you doing?"
Hey guys, I got the alcohol. Let's hang out in the catacombs.
The catacombs, baby. And then all of a sudden, the dinner people like become evil. Their eyes do the thing.
Yes.
And Seagal just shoots them in the head immediately.
My favorite part on this is right after this scene. I think it's right after here, where it's Seagal leaving the room. The candle. This woman is like face first in her dinner now, right? The candle is lit on the table, and as she's leaving, because they clearly had to do this in one take, because one take Steven.
Yeah.
That candle is doing this the whole time, about ready to fall over and light this woman's hair on fire.
I did not notice that. It's amazing. Oh my god! But then so now they're in the catacombs and they're like wandering around. They're all like searching through like the and again it's all like under this old church or something, and they're looking for Arun and his stuff. And Tia wants to go look for the lab or something like that. She's like, the lab is here somewhere, and that's again that happens so they can break off and have just those two, because those are two that they got back for reshoots when they added the whole drug thing. Yeah. So they go look for the thing. Meanwhile, Warner gets absolutely fucking murdered by some random, like, I think it's the woman, the other woman drops down and like slices his neck open. Because at this point, Rain is dead, but there's another assassin lady who has been barely in the movie at all, but she becomes like the ultimate villain at the end.
Yeah, what is this?
What's like not even been in the fucking movie till this point, whatever.
In that case, you will all die. I promise you.
Almost like
a protractor. It's a crystal protractor.
The world's deadliest protractor. Yeah, it actually. You're not wrong.
With this, you'll be able to dice up your enemies and angles.
I hate you. But meanwhile, Tia and Tom Sizemore get into the lab and they're looking around and they just find a computer that has like a map of France, and they're like, "Oh, look, they're releasing it in the water supply." And their solution to this is to blow up the computer. He leaves a grenade on the computer and is like, "All right, let's get out of here.
We got it. We got it, guys."
It's like, I don't think that's how that works.
Steven, that was just the monitor.
And again, I think they're blowing up the lab because there's like drugs.
I would love that in a film where they just like, we got to figure out how to shut this down. I got it, and they just unload on the monitor, and then somebody's like, "That was just the monitor, you idiot!"
You idiot.
We don't need the monitor.
Yeah.
Now we don't know how to shut it down. We don't have anything to look at the computer now.
No. Yep. You're fucked. Then so they blow up the lab, and then Tia is now wandering through looking for trying to meet up with them again, and just gets murdered. Just out of, and again, she has the cool wrist blades too. She has her own wrist blades.
No,
and they do
Arun's
nothing.
just like, and you're dead.
Yeah, Arun drops down and just crystal knife shanks her in the throat, and she dies. Every single person we see, they must have had a very specific injury. Prosthetic that they had, because everybody gets sliced in like the exact same way on the neck.
What they probably did is they ordered like wounds and stuff, and they thought it would work everywhere, and they're like, the same wound's not going to work in this location,
Yeah.
It works on the neck. I don't know, just everybody gets
sliced in the neck. There is one guy who gets punched in the chest later, and he has like a little hole in his chest or whatever, but yeah. Oh, it's incredible. Then there's this, I have to talk about this scene because it's just edited so insanely. There's this one random like no-name military guy wandering through the catacombs, and he gets attacked by the woman, like the new like bad lady. But before he gets attacked by her, the whole screen goes white for like 3 seconds. And then I was like, was there a flashbang that didn't make any noise? What just happened? I think it was just a poorly edited. Like, I think they were supposed to put like a flash, and they just had the duration slightly too long.
Why not?
And it just holds on screen as like white for like a while. But then she murders some random dude who she like comes flying down and kills him. Then I love, because they've all splitting up at this point, and I love at this point, Tom Sizemore meets back up with Seagal, and he arrives, and he's like, "So, I lost everybody. They're all dead."
lost everybody, sir. They're all dead.
Great line.
It's just it's almost like a comedy beat where he shows back up and Seagal's like, "How are you doing?" He's like, "They're all dead." It's like they're all there. Yeah. Everybody's dead. It's just us. But it's him. It's now Seagal who found us Tia and did not care at all. He was like, oh man, whatever. It's now Seagal, Sizemore, and I can't remember his name. It's like they call him like Chub. I'll see if I can find it.
It's somebody who we've never even met up to this
seen,
point.
but he's all of a sudden a named character and is one of the final people.
And I think I think in the credit, I think this guy is somebody of note in the like martial arts scene because like I think he has a credit. There's a assistant to him in like the credits somewhere.
Really?
It's like assistant to like Mr. Chu or something like that.
It's something like Chu. I was trying to
like
find
CHOO.
I was trying to find. I can't find his in the cast here.
I hope it's like a very generic name. I hope his name's like Sergeant David or something like that.
He's not credited. There's nobody with the name that I remember seeing in. Yeah, there's nobody.
But it feels
there's
like
a Carl, but I don't think it's Carl.
That'd be great if it was. But like it's straight out of like Showdown in Manila, where they're bringing in like all these like martial arts people from over the decades and stuff for like their little cameo thing. Yeah, and that's what it feels like. This guy's kind of
yeah, it's very strange. Also, the final woman who they fight at the end is her name is Queen. So yes, Queen of the Damned. Like her character name is Queen in the
Yep.
But again, that's the thing. I bet all of her scenes were way too vampire-y for them to use, so they didn't include her like at all until the end of the movie, because every other scene with her, they're like, we're vampires, we love being vampires, and like, we can't use any of this.
This is so weird.
But anyway, so he's all dead, and then so it's just the three of them. Arun drops down in front of them like a little it's like wee, like a little lemur dropping out of a tree. He lands in front of them, and Seagal, who is holding a fuck off shotgun, throws it to the side.
No, he just hands it to
he hands it to the other guy.
Yeah, so no, I got this.
Got to use my wrist blades, and then they start fighting, and immediately kills him. I'm not even kidding. He kills Arun like. In 2 seconds. It's like
stab, you're dead.
And then he tries to attack him again. He stabs him in the neck/head like 2 or 3 times after he already has him. And apparently that doesn't, because again, he's a vampire.
Yeah.
He like lunges at him again, and then he stabs him again. He's dead. That's whatever. I was like, okay, well, that was easy. Meanwhile, Tom Sizemore gets thrown through a fucking stone wall and is fine. Then, that's the other thing. The Queen, when she shows up, we saw her 2 seconds ago in this movie killing like a guard or whatever, and she was in like a full leather cat suit, like a Black Widow style, like full leather cat suit. Cut forward one scene, we run into her. She's in like a lacy flowing lingerie top. I was like, what is happening? She changed. She changed in the last 30 seconds since we saw her. Oh my god. And again, she's like the main villain, and she has not even been in the movie. But again, I think it's because she's way too vampire-y to have been in the rest of the movie.
100%.
Then we get my favorite thing in every Seagal movie, and I was worried they weren't going to do it in this one, but they fucking do it.
The hand things?
The close-up shot, the camera is in Seagal's face, and it's just a shot of him going... And it is my favorite thing in every Seagal movie, dude.
They just have a shot looking at hands, and the hands are just going like this.
Well, the hands. They have the close up of the hands going, and then the close up of Seagal's face, and you just see him flailing, and it's the least badass looking thing you could ever put in your movie, but they always do. Then he slices her, and he cuts a giant slice through her chest.
And it cuts her, like, top, and the top just is able to stay in place. And I'm looking the whole time, I was like, hang on. You can't tease me with a good time
I know.
and not deliver.
I was like, how in the world is that not? Are her boobs not out right now? But no, apparently she glued the top to her breasts because it's cut.
Who's this distribution company that redid this? Can I sue them for false advertising?
Definitely. Oh my god, it's so goofy though. He's like slices her entire chest open, and again, it just doesn't. Her boobs never come out magically. And then more flail fighting. Tom
Sizemore was told to like go defend the back or whatever, and he was getting his ass kicked.
Yeah. He gets killed. I think he just dies. Right?
Yeah. He just gets stabbed, and he's like, "Oh, okay."
He gets stabbed with a knife. That's right. Yeah. Somebody stabs him with a knife. So he's dead, and then, but luckily, Seagal is able to defeat her by she tries to punch him, he dodges it, and then punches her in the head with his blade and kills her, like right in the brain, like in the temple, and this kills her. I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
And then we get this long, clumsy slow-mo shot of him dragging the other guy.
The other random dude who we met 5 minutes ago.
Yes, no time at all ago. And we've heard his name once. We have no idea who he is. He's like dragging him out of the ruins or whatever. And then they get in a car, which we don't see them get in a car. We didn't just cut to a car driving away. Might even be the same shot we saw earlier, because we saw that shot of that big long like road with the light blasting the trees in the distance. They used that earlier. It might even be the exact same shot, just reused. But we just watched them drive away in a car, and the movie just ends. No resolution, no nothing. It is just like, he kills this woman, movie over. No, what? What? Yeah, that's the movie. And again, it so very clearly was a vampire movie that they turned into not a vampire movie. And I could not believe. Why would you do that? Yeah, just make it a vampire movie.
They afraid of like getting sued or something?
I don't know. I have no idea. It's so like, clearly the movie probably didn't work as a vampire movie either, but it really doesn't work as this weird hodgepodge mess of like drug government crime thriller.
Government drug creation stuff.
It's nonsense. It's absolute nonsense, and it's exactly as bad as you expect. And I would say it's probably bad, but it's close.
It's close. Yeah.
It was just boring enough for me, like through most of it.
If you re-edit it from its hour and like 24, or it's like hour 34 minutes. You could probably take 10 minutes out of that and probably clean it up.
Yeah, maybe if you remove like 10 or 15 minutes, it's also like it's too well shot. Like there's not like you know what I mean? Like it's too, it looks too good. There's not enough like mistakes. The editing is atrocious, but like the film itself looks kind of like an actual movie. And the ADR is great. I will never not laugh at the very clearly not Steven Seagal ADR.
I mean, we made the treaties, they broke them, and now you sit back and expect me to clean up after them? That's not going to happen.
Maybe I'm coming around. Maybe it's good, bad. I don't know.
This does have one of my favorite trivia notes on IMDb.
Oh, so you saw that, but you didn't see the vampire?
No, I didn't. Because I'm dumb. But one of my favorite trivia things on IMDb was...
I can find it. Hold on. Here, I can give it to you. And
it was Steven Seagal would, at the end of each like shoot day or whatever, would go over to the craft services and say, with his fake Cajun accent, go, "Oh Lord, have mercy! Now we're gonna have a real attack force."
That's what it was. Lord have mercy! Y'all about to see a real attack force. Which, if that's true, and I love this. This is on IMDb's trivia. It has 5 upvotes and 1 downvote, and it says, according to numerous sources, every day after wrapping filming. There's no way he did that every day.
That would be amazing.
Also, there's no way, because that's not true, because the movie wasn't called Attack Force when they were filming.
It's true.
So it's
really funny.
But it's really funny. Whoever made that up, very, very well done. It is really funny. So... That's going to do it for this episode. As always, you can do us a giant favor by heading over to patreon.com/GBorBB. Support us there for a few bucks a month. Get access to bonus content and all that sort of stuff. We actually missed our bonus episode in December. Our apologies on that. Christmas and whatnot all kind of got away from us. But we are filming the January one right after this, once we're done filming these episodes. And it's, well, we won't say what it is, but it's going to be a fun little thing from a fast food restaurant.
We're going to learn stuff. We're going to learn.
So I know how to do a thing now that I did not know before, Kyle. I will tell you that much. That's for damn sure.
I learned something.
It's true. It's true. That's that. If you also want to support us, you can head over to TeePublic and just search.
Brian's got the shirt.
Oh, I have this.
And
I forgot I was wearing the shirt. There you go.
Pillow.
And just search for our merch, and you can support us that way. I have a podcast called This Film Is It, where we talk about movies that are based on books. When this episode's out, our most recent episode will have been Forrest Gump, I think.
That was a novel?
Yes. Yep, absolutely. So, yeah, we'll be doing Forrest Gump.
But that was straight out of the mind of Zemeckis.
No, it is not. It's very much.
Next thing you're going to tell me Big was based off a novel, too.
I don't know.
Probably.
Sorry. Probably.
Isn't that also a Zemeckis film?
It is, yeah. I think it is, yeah.
Tom Hanks and Zemeckis.
No original ideas between them. All they do is steal from books. Anyways, that's that. Anything else you want, just look in the description. All the information's there. Until next time, keep watching movies. I don't know.
Kind of Attack Force, but kind
it's
of
on
not.
YouTube. It's free. You can watch it.
It's there.
Yeah, you can check it out.
It won't cost you anything.
That's true. Bye.